Hello class, my name is Anna, and today I will take 5 minutes of your time to respond to the main claim that glyphosate is harmful towards society. The advocate supported the main claim with 3 claims. 1, that because of the rapid growth of this herbicide, it is difficult to find foods that may not have been treated with it. 2, that the chemically engineered glyphosate causes negative effects in our health. And 3, that it is damaging towards the environment. So here are the problems with the explanations. To begin with, there is a problem with the evidence that supports the claim that glyphosate has a negative effect on our health. The advocate stated that glyphosate has been linked to chronic kidney disease. In the same article by Sustainable Pulse, where the advocate got the information that 400,000 patients have been linked to kidney disease, it is also stated that glyphosate alone is not the cause for chronic kidney disease. Plus, even if glyphosate was linked to kidney disease, according to an article by MD Jeff Ritterman, at this point, this elegant theory advanced by Dr. Hayasumana and colleagues can only be considered hypothesis generating. Further scientific studies will need to confirm the hypothesis that chronic kidney disease is indeed due to glyphosate. Therefore, those 400,000 patients that had kidney disease can only be hypothetically linked with glyphosate as the cause. Secondly, there's no evidence that shows that foods treated with this herbicide are bad, regarding the first claim that where the advocate states that herbicide is found in foods. So even if there's a small residue or small dosage of this herbicide in our food, it would not be crucial to our health. Because according to the Extension Toxicology Network, glyphosate is non-volatile, minimizing exposure through inhalation and undergoes little metabolism in the human body. If accidentally consumed, glyphosate is excreted, mostly unchanged in feces and urine, so it wouldn't stay in our body and it wouldn't accumulate. It was also found in the article academicsreview.org that glyphosate is far less toxic than most herbicides, and that it has no specific health effect ever been demonstrated to have been caused by exposure to or low-level consumption of glyphosate. It has little effect on non-target organisms that are not plants, like other plants. Third, the advocate states that glyphosate diminishes the quality of soil, and there's a problem with this claim because in the same article that the advocate used to state that glyphosate causes soil quality to diminish, it is also stated that a team of scientists from the agricultural department similarly reviewed much of the research and found the herbicide to be fairly benign. In response to a request from Monsanto, the Environmental Protection Agency recently increased the amount of glyphosate that is allowed on food and feed crops. So, I responded to the main claim that glyphosate is harmful towards society with the 3 supported claims that it is bad for our health, it is bad for the environment, and it is hard to find foods that have not been treated with it. I responded to these claims by stating the problems with the explanations and saying that glyphosate cannot be linked to chronic kidney disease. That 2, there's no evidence that food treated with glyphosate is bad for us. And 3, there's no evidence that glyphosate affects the quality of the soil. So the main problem that these statements have is that they're all mostly hypothetical, because all the resources used for the argument presented never proved the statements correct. Thank you for your time.
Okay, you start off labeling the proposition clearly. The secondary points are listed, and it sounds to me like you've got a counterclaim on each of those points. I got to be honest with you, I didn't get the signposting on the second and the third point while you were presenting, but in the summary, when I went back and looked at the notes, I could tell where everything was, so your summary helped a little bit in structuring those points. On the first point where you talk about problems with the evidence, I like the fact that you went back into the evidence that the advocate used and found that there are, in fact, some reservations about how that information is working. And I also thought that there was a good piece of information that suggests that the theory that the advocate's talking about here is really speculative at this point, and they're treating the 400,000 as if it is fact-based, when in fact it is speculative at this particular point. So I thought that was a good response to the particular evidence that the advocate had on that point. On the second point, the general response here is that it's not volatile, that the whole idea that it's excreted from the body, I think that that's an interesting piece of factual data that seems to diminish the problems of that particular excuse me, substance. I don't know what the advocate's evidence on this particular point was, so I'm not really getting much of a contrast on this like I was on the first point. The third point, the evidence is a little ambiguous. The USDA says it's relatively benign, and they've actually allowed it to be increased in the amount that can be utilized on the crops. The advocate's evidence on this, you kind of criticize it for being fairly abstract also. So it seems to me like both pieces of information here are not convincing one way or the other. So that would be a reason to to assume that the substance is at least not been proven dangerous, which is the burden of the advocate, since that's the argument that they made. I like the summary at the end. Like I said, I think that helped clarify a couple of things. Thank you.